Good evening. Welcome everybody to the studio this evening. And the first thing I'm going to do is change my glasses. Yet again, I've forgotten to do the one thing that I always need to do at the start of every single stream is change my glasses. I've done everything else but that. Never mind. Right, so we shall continue with what I was doing, which I'm now trying to remember. Oh yes, it was darkening this area here. Let me get rid of the cat hairs. The pussycat is still sleeping on the pyrography. I don't know if they think it's going to be warm or not, but let's get rid of the little cat hairs. I don't want them on the end of a pyrographic tool. It does not smell very nice. Right. Fluffy Twiggler, you made paper. That sounds good. By which I take it you've got your kit and your pens today. I got some stuff today, but can't use it for what I was intending to use it for because the place I got the rings from measured them in a different way and I didn't know. I got the wrong ones. But you've made paper, so you're gonna have, what are you going to use the paper for now that you've got it? You're going to try those new pens on it, and I'm guessing it takes a little while to dry as well. Oh, just the paper set. Are they coming from different places? Ah. So now you'll have the paper for when the inks arrive. Well, I for some reason, just the way that your phraseology makes me sound like you're really excited about making that paper. So I'm glad. Did it turn out exactly as you were hoping, or is it something that needs a little bit more practice or working on to give you exactly what you want? I see. You had the paper and the water in the blender, sat there waiting to push the button. You need a silencer kit for it in some way that you can silence it. Oh dear, I can just imagine you sat there just waiting for them to wake up so you can just push the button. Yeah. Oh dear. I bet you were doing things like hoping that the phone would ring or something like that, weren't you? Well, I did get a little bit of good news today. You know, along with the wrong order, I did get some of those nice deep pink rings that you saw me doing the dragon scale with, so I can finish that cuff off now at some point. I've got enough rings to finish that, which is good. And maybe though I've got the last of that colour available anyway, so I won't be making another cuff. Actually, won't be making. I think I might just have enough for another one, but I don't know whether I'll use it for that. I'm a bit nervous doing this because I've already got a little dark mark that I didn't want. It's got an intermediate colour here, which is very easy to do that. Get that little burn on because I've applied just enough heat, but it's very easy just to get a little bit too much heat in one place. Turn this down a bit, even if I have to. Even if it takes twice as long. So how long do you need to does the paper take to dry then? I guess it depends on how much you press it and how much water you get out of it, but I imagine it's still quite a sort of a thick paper and takes quite a while to dry. Or is it sort of something that you can force dry, like putting it into an oven or something like that? Or does it have to be air dried, just left to dry of its own accord? Wow, that's a long URL. Oh, it's 2 URLs. Yeah. You can tell the monitors over on that is looking. What causes that texture on it, like little fine lines? Is it sort of done on a like a very fine mesh or something like that, so the water drains through? Or is it sort of done on the kitchen paper, that cloth you've got underneath, so it's transferring the lines through on that? Interesting though. Any particular reason for the orange colour, or is that just the paper that you used, or did you specifically try and get the orange effect? Rihanna DeWitt, hello, good evening, welcome to the studio. Yeah, I can imagine they take quite a while to dry, and I bet they absorb a heck of a lot of ink when you're using them as well. That's fascinating. It's fascinating how things that you kind of take for granted every day, like paper and stuff like that. Just how you can make it, and I suppose you're kind of making it like they used to make it almost a long time ago. I'm just thinking, you really then can claim to have the finished pieces handmade, can you? Even the paper. Oh, okay. It's come from the original coloured paper. Interesting. I guess, and that is that. Well, apart from potentially adding a dye for yourself, that's one way, obviously, of getting the different colours. Yeah. So well, yellow. I was just thinking that probably what's occurred with the yellow dye out of the paper is it won't be a perfect yellow dye. It'll probably be an orange, just like an orange colour, and it's you've washed away some of the other items that are mixed with it to form the yellow. Yeah, you're practicing so that you can be real good at it when you get it. Yeah, I understand. You're only just practicing, just checking it works. After all, that's exactly what I'd do if I got something like that. I'd really want to make sure it was working okay and there was no problems. If you happen to get some paper at the end of it, well, that's just a side effect. It just turned orange. Well, the oranges are different. Yeah. Bob Ross moment. It was a beautiful bright lemon yellow. Then you decided that you'd experiment a little and you got a nice mellow orange colour. After all, it'll soon be Halloween and it's a lovely colour for that, isn't it? So you didn't make a mistake, it was a happy accident. I trust you're okay as well, Rihanna DeWitt. I don't think we've seen you for a little while. Indeed, Fluffy Twiglet. Indeed, you can use that. As well, I've mentioned that before sometimes with stuff like that. You're the author, you're the artist. It came out right. If other people don't say that it wasn't what you thought it was going to be, well, don't explain it. Don't tell them you made a mistake. It's just, you decided halfway through that you changed your mind. You'd like some Halloween paper. After all, you did get paper out of it. It wasn't as though you ended up with papier-mâché or something. You actually got paper. So yeah, it was done perfectly okay. I just want to create a bit more contrast just around here, but I don't really want to make this as dark as this is going to be, so I'm just going to taper it off in this small section here so it's going to be darker, and then tail off to this sort of colour here. And given the fact that this is a rounded nose anyway, it comes to a point, you kind of, the dark area back here tapering off will also tend to enhance that curve. uh, it actually took me a while to read to read that twice, and I didn't read the capital letters to start with, but yeah, that's a little mean. It is. I think it's I think it's amazing, and I can't really. I definitely couldn't do it myself at this moment in time. So and I'm trying desperately to sort of say, you kind of what I said. You managed to make this, and it's not that you couldn't do it. I didn't think you could do it. I just didn't know it could be done, type of thing. So I have to be a bit careful. Chosen07, I don't know who's back. Who's back? That's tweaking my sense of humour, is that? But I can't quite think of a suitable response other than I don't know who's back. If I'd been a bit snappier there, I could have said, I don't know, we don't have anybody back in the stream. Welcome, by the way. So I'm in a bit of a funny mood tonight, aren't I? That's probably a reaction to my disappointment. As I just mentioned earlier on the stream, I made a mistake ordering something. I ordered some sterling silver rings to make myself a bracelet. And when you order jump rings, just about from anywhere, because they tend to get used a lot for chainmail and stuff, and in jewellery terms. Just about everywhere I've looked, the measure of rings by the internal diameter, because that's kind of the diameter of the wire and the internal diameter of the ring, because it's kind of important when you're trying to put it through something, or you're trying to get something on the ring, like a bead or something like that. You need to know how much space you've got in the middle. Only the place I got these rings from measured it by the outside diameter, so I was after 6.5mm rings. I got 6.5mm rings, but instead of it being 6.5mm internally, it was 6.5mm externally, and so it's about 3mm internally, and I can't use it. I'm a bit disappointed, but it's my sense of humour, I guess, or whatever's been triggered, and I kind of feel all sorts of laughing at adversity type of thing, hysterical laughter, something like that. But whatever, I'm laughing, which is the main thing. Actually, what it means is Mrs. Zaraganat probably gets a bracelet. To all's well that ends well. Fluffy Twiglet there has just made some paper, some nice orange paper for Halloween, and getting some practice in for university, and we've got Rihanna DeWitt around as well. Welcome again, Rihanna. I know I said that earlier, but just thrice welcome. That sounds like that should be a quote from somewhere. And anybody else that's watching as well, who isn't actually in chat or doesn't want to chat, that's okay, but welcome to you as well. Okay, that doesn't look bad. Let's see if I can get, I've got a little, can't see it on stream, but I can see it here. I've got a little light patch just where my pen is there, and it was bothering me because what it actually is a little dent in the wood. So when you run a pen over the top, it of course doesn't get into the dent, so that stayed a bit lighter. It was bothering me. I guess I should do exactly the same thing there as well. Yeah, the only problem with this, well, with the camera and with the light, is they're right in front of the screen, and I keep having to, as you can see me doing this, I'm trying to look at chat because the camera's the light's just in the wrong place. I was just thinking then maybe what I ought to try and do is put chat onto the iPad and sort of sit the iPad just sort of there, or one side or other of this camera. That way I don't have to keep looking up all the time. And you don't get to look up my nose. I'm going to have to turn this around at this point. Tyler the Farmer, good evening. So focused. Well, I kind of have to be. I try to keep an eye on chat, but I can end up damaging the look of the piece if I'm not careful, because the way in which the heat transfer works is that if I don't keep an eye on what I'm doing, then very quickly I can end up with a really dark area of wood that I didn't want, and then obviously what that's done is disrupt the image, and I then have to either work around that as a problem, or it means scrapping the whole thing. So I'm a little bit focused sometimes on it, especially when shall we say, the colour isn't being arrived at as I might like. Sometimes the wood seems to resist changing colour, and it can be quite. You can get sort of start feeling really impatient with it, and just like now, accidentally, I've just got a little tiny black dark spot there which I didn't want. I'm not going to do anything about it at the moment, unless I have to. But just something as simple like that, you get a mark that you don't really want. Now that one's not too bad. It may disappear over time as I do some more work on this, but essentially that's the sort of thing I'm trying to avoid. Yeah. Well, being focused on something sometimes is good. The thing is, I enjoy doing this sort of thing so much, and streaming actually, but I enjoy sort of working art, and streaming is forcing me to do art. It's kind of forcing me to do what I like doing anyway, which sounds silly. You wouldn't think you'd need forcing, but it's quite I don't know, I was about to say it's quite easy to be distracted by something else, and probably means I'm a little bit lazy, but I kind of get lost in what I'm doing. I just sort of forget that I'm streaming it, for example, and then that's when I shut up. Yeah, I guess I sort of am so focused on it I don't realise there's anybody out there. But anyway, good evening, and if I didn't say so, welcome to the studio. Now, of course, I'm feeling all self-conscious. But, yeah, what the heck. Grass paper. Oh, that's from last night, wasn't it? Grass paper. Yeah, you might need to. Well, I was about to say you might need to use dried grass, but you probably don't. I'd make sure you get coarse grass though, because the sort of stuff that comes off my lawn will probably be too fine, not enough fibre in it. But there again, you never know. Yes, that's right, Tyler the farmer. There's what I've got is, let me put that down, I'll just show you. We've got a control unit. If I just tip the camera like that, I've got an electrical control unit there, plugged into the mains, obviously, 2 pens attached to it in this particular case. I can control the actual amount of heat with that and choose which pen with the switch there. The switch on the left is a main switch. So let me now try and put this camera back into a position. There we go. Yeah, it took me a while to find a unit I was well, I've never tried any other units, so it was it took me a while when I first got this to find a unit that I liked what appeared to be the features on. This one specifically got chosen for 2 reasons. One is I've just got a cat. The fact it's got 2 pens, so it was easy to switch, because otherwise you kind of, well, at the moment I'm not switching pens, but there are times when you're switching pens, every couple of moments, and whilst they're not that difficult to change on here, they just pull out. Actually, that could do with tightening up. Having 2 is just a little bit easier. And the second thing I like about these is the tool itself. I actually prefer fixed tip pens like this one to the ones where you change the tips, but I'm in the UK. There is a limited supply without importing them from the States of being able to get fixed tip pens. This pen, for example, or this tip is available fixed tip, but in the UK I can only get it as a removable tip. But the only thing I don't like about this particular tool actually is that connector. These originally were designed... Tyler the Farmer, thank you very much for following. That's kind of you. These particular type of connectors are actually audio connectors, or shall we say low frequency connectors. They're not really meant for power, which is what these consume, quite a bit of power. And they warm up a little bit. They don't get hot, but they do warm up a little bit because they're not really designed to carry that amount of power. But and then actually I could do with tightening that. Conveniently I've got a pair of pliers here. They're also not really meant for a lot of plug and unplug. So you do need to make sure with any pen, however it is connected, that you get a good connection, because any sort of poor connection you'll lose power in the connection, and that means you don't get it at the tip, which is where you want it. You'll have to wait for your partner to cut the lawn. Well, I was going to say I've tipped quite a lot just recently, but unfortunately probably not within distance to take it away. Otherwise you could have plenty. I'd be quite happy to give you some. Is that supposed to be a train? Oh, you are tweaking my sense of humour. No, it's supposed to be a pyrographic image of a train, or more specifically a pyrographic image of a monorail, which is a kind of train. Sorry, I'm that way inclined tonight. What this is what the monorail, the image of the monorail is. This is an image, the original, from which the original image that I photographed was taken in Disney World in Florida, probably about 15 years ago, when these particular monorails were flying around. I know they've replaced them since then at least once. Probably about 5-6 years ago I started airbrushing, and one of the first pictures I made airbrushing was using the photographs that I'd taken of the monorail, and I just happened to get one out about a week or so ago to show another airbrusher on stream, and I just thought, hey, that looks good, I'll do it. I'd love to do it as a paragraph image, so that's what I'm doing. 3 weeks till you need plenty of time then to make more paper. Build up the stock, Fluffy Twiglet. I'm gonna save. I've got a whole field full of grass, so, but unfortunately, as far as I recall, we're nowhere near each other. So sorry. You'll have to go around the neighbourhood offering to cut people's grass. Oh yes, I was working on this area here. It needs to be a little darker. and tightening that connector up has made a difference. This tip is a little bit hotter than it was. It might. I'm not sure you're seeing much of a colour change on the on the stream, but this is gradually going darker, and I am just trying to be really smooth to spread that change of colour out across the whole area, so I don't get streaks. Just trying to be really quite consistent about it. So it looks smooth. After all, it's a metal skinned train. Oh, baby tears! Good evening. Look, no hands. How are you? You're going to sit on your chair. Oh, he took you to Fluffy. You've been a long time away. Yeah, a long time no see. Tell you how long ago it is. I was I've got another pyrographic image here that I did, which before I started this one I was going to do your portrait or as a pyrograph, because you asked and I didn't see any reason why not at the time, but you didn't come around again after I came back from holiday, so I had to do something else. So it's not your portrait. I did that took about 3 weeks, and then I've gone through every other art form I've done, and I've come back to pyrography, so that's about a couple of months at least ago. So welcome back. Does it leave indents? Yes and no. If I find what the cat's done. It can, shall we say, and it actually does. If I take some, that's a cat. She's scrabbling around on the top of a model tank, which I don't really want her to do. Well, she wants to sit on my knee. That's probably who you're hearing meow. But kind of cats and hot tools don't mix. And she doesn't like the wire on her back, so she keeps getting up. I'll probably end up with her on my knee in a minute anyway. You can make indents. This is specifically or purposely made indents in here by using the tip of the tool, and what happens is the wood literally shrinks away as you heat it up. It shrinks away from the tool, so this kind of cut in, so it creates like it's created like a texture, which you can sort of see if I just move it around. You can sort of see the texture crawling a little bit. But if I hold the tool flat, then it tends not to create an indent. It does very slightly. If you run your fingers over this, for example, you can feel the transition, because as you heat wood, some of what you're doing is driving the moisture out of it, the sap out of it, and so the fibres shrink. So you can actually feel that on the transition around it. The other thing that you're kind of doing is, it's a bit like ironing clothes, you're smoothing the surface texture out as well, which is one of the reasons why it looks shiny. So that sort of is altering the surface texture. But generally speaking, for a lot of the time with something like this, I'm trying my best not to cause the surface to shrink too much, because I literally don't necessarily want that textured look. Might do occasionally, and in some cases like fur, it's lovely to do. She might be, but it's a 1/16 inch 1/16 scale tank, so she's a bit big for that, even though she's a small cat. But yeah, destroy a cat. Yeah, well, when I came back from holiday, what I remembered was I had a camera, because I was saving up for a second one. But I remembered I work from home, and I remembered I had a camera on the works PC, which I basically never used because of the, we used to do a lot of video conferencing, don't at the moment. So I kind of borrowed it, obviously, to make sure it stays in working order for work, and to keep it sort of, give it some use and make sure it continues to operate, you see. So it's borrowed, shall we say, until I can afford another one. That will give me a bit better resolution than this one. But yeah. I guess, I could always tip this one so you could see me and the work, but it's a bit easier to have two. Watch out for the catnip. Oh, we do have catnip. We have catnip around outside. They tend to ignore it most of the time, unless something brushes past it, because that then releases the smell, and then they go absolutely crackers. They'll roll in it, they'll chew on it, they'll jump on it, they'll cut, and then, because one cat's then covered in it, the others are all interested in the smell of the cat that's covered in it, so they all end up rolling in the thing. Yeah, I'll have to keep remembering. I'll have to do something about getting chat lower, so I don't have to keep looking up. Or can't look over my glasses because I need to see through them. But otherwise, it sort of is an odd angle when I look up. Right. Okay. I need to. That will probably need to go darker again. But now it matches that a little bit. The bottom edge of it could do with being a bit darker. There's two bands here which are technically the same colour, but because this is kind of a tube, but these wings sort of come out at a they're not quite vertical, but they come out at an angle. So they catch the light. They're obviously catching the light. They're more tipped towards the sky. So they on the reference picture, this is blue, and these two bands are also blue, but they look lighter because of them being tipped up. But at the moment, it's almost impossible to see a difference between the two, between what's white and what's blue. So I need to darken these as well. One of your dogs likes catnip. I don't know what it is. It doesn't smell much to me, but it must be something, because the cats kind of all go glazy-eyed with it. It must be almost like a drug of some kind, but yeah. Oh, can't have you crying Tyler the farm. Maybe. Now, back then I was going to, but maybe, we shall see. Depends if you're going to be around a lot more, baby tears. I'm not blackmailing you. Once I've done this piece, it will probably be another couple of months before I'm back on pyrography, so we'll see when we get that far. Um, you're back, yes. Dear. Yeah, another hour. Yeah, Fuffy's white. Right there. I was thinking of finishing early tonight to get on with something else, but no, I'll stay around. Do I stream often? Do you stream often? That sounds like do you come here often? Indeed, she's Fuffy's right. Every evening, 8 p.m. UK time, 1900 hours GMT for about 2 hours. Oh, I was trying to think who ISOT was. I lost. Ah, dear. There's too many good streamers on. I don't get. I do get a chance to listen to Lost, but I don't because I'm too busy listening to a lot of other people. Even at work these days, I am tending to have 2 streams running at the same time, one on an iPad and one on the works machine, which is while I'm working, I love a coherent background noise. I'm not that keen on music when I'm working, but people talking. So the streams are great, and occasionally, I do watch stuff or have stuff on that I'm interested in. So occasionally I do sort of watch what they're doing, but that's to get in the game whistle. Wow, that's funny. Dear. Actually, I guess okay. Let's since you've not been around for a while, let me give you an indication of some of the things I've done. Baby Tears, since you've been around, and we've got Tyler who's not been here before. So you saw one of the pyrographic images, and here was another one that I did. Since we're doing pyrography at the moment, a sleeping fox and a fox that's wide awake. So that was a one that I tried out. In fact, that was more of a sort of a speed pyrography. We did this piece in one stream, 1 hour per side, which was and made use a little bit of that texturing technique, Tyler the Farmer. We did some. I don't think. We've done some carving. So that was a piece that was carved. That took a real long time. That was about 4 or 5 weeks of carving to do that. That's a dragon from Anne McCaffrey's Pern series. And that took a long time because I kept making mistakes. But so that's one of the carved pieces that we did. And I'm showing off now, you see. We did a train in Punchcraft. So I think may have done at least another one. Thank you very much, Baby T. So that's the Mallard steam engine. Yes, there does seem to be quite a bit of trains around for some reason. I do scraper board, and this was the last scraper board image that we did. Which is, I don't know if it's an abandoned cottage, but it's a cottage at night. We've got green grass. I like the shape of trains. I'm not a train nut. I don't tend to go out watching them and things like that. I do like them, but I equally like cars or planes or buildings sometimes. It just looks good. So that's that was something. Let me put that back safe because I haven't. I've got to varnish those at some point so that I don't damage them. But I started making jewellery as well. I'll use this as a table. So I started making jewellery as well. Out of chainmail rings. So things like that. And so all sorts of pretty jewellery. Bracelets, necklaces. These are just a few out of the box. Now let's see if I can get this one to uncurl itself a little bit. I've got a sparkly one here. So that's another thing that I now do. Yep, that's right. She absolutely loved them. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was just before I went on holiday. I was doing them in secret, wasn't I? So yeah, she's got a lot more since then. She got 3 on holiday for her birthday. That was one of them. These 3 started it all. I don't know where the other one is. I've got the necklace here as well. So the 2 I've got in my hand, the bracelet and the necklace, were the ones that started it all. And and I loved doing that so much, as you probably heard at the time. And I've then just gone on making sort of lots and lots of jewellery. And yeah, actually I've made more than I thought I had. Oh dear, I've got loads. Yeah, lovely. What else? Where's it? Yeah. Actually, I've got to put a clasp on some of these. But talking of Halloween, there's sort of a Halloween bracelet, or otherwise known as a tiger. I suppose tiger stripe bracelet. In art class you made a fairy and sorry, I don't understand that one, Tyler. But you made a fairy, yeah. Actually, that's an interesting idea. Maybe one of these things, what I will do is recreate an image that I did a long time ago. I actually did it in junior school of a yacht in the sea, on a pond or whatever, but it's got a sort of a racing yacht, full sail. That'd be an interesting thing to try. I shall put that on the list of my images to consider. I seem to be doing a lot of transport. Oh, you got a plus. Okay. Thank you for the host, Baby Tears. That's kind of you. Or is it you doing it so you can watch yourself? Ships are nice things to image a ship. So they tend to look really graceful. I'm not quite sure whether I'm better at organic stuff like the cats or mechanical stuff. I think the cats are probably easier to do, just because it's easier not to make. It's easier if you. Mistakes are less visible on things that are organic than they are on something like this. If I made a dark mark on here, it will stand out. If I make a dark mark on a pussycat's fur, it's a dark mark on a pussycat's fur. You know, it doesn't show up. Your friend's been drawing on clear mugs. Some sort of indelible marker of some kind, Fluffy Twiggler. Not I was not going to say I'm not particularly aware of anything that will stand the temperatures too well. That's permanent, so that when you wash it, it doesn't come off. I have tried, and the clear thing reminded me of is I have tried sort of, was it not exactly glass paint, but it's kind of liquid, shall we say coloured liquid plastic, which bonds to glass, so you can create pictures and things on glass. So a bit like so it looks ultimately a bit like stained glass. That's good fun to do as well. 3D book. Okay. Do you mean 3D book sculptures? Sculptures made out of books, or like a pop-up book, so you open the book and the thing appears? Oh, I like that one. I like that Fluffy Twiggler. That's a nice sort of joke. T-Rex. Yeah, I like that. That's good. You ought to yeah, take a picture, Chosen. Show us all what it looks like, and yeah, maybe stream doing it one of these days, if you well, if you chose to do so. Sorry, that would be an interesting thing to watch. I better get on with some pyrography, otherwise I'll spend the rest of the stream showing off things that we've done before. About another 3/4 of an hour, baby tears. Yes, last night's that was quite fun for a short interval, wasn't it, Fluffy Twiggler? Trying to find. Did you find any more, by the way, or did you just? Because I had to sort of very deliberately at the end of the stream close the picture down, because I knew otherwise I'd spend ages looking for more. Yeah, for those that obviously wasn't around, we did a Fluffy Twiglet showed an art picture that she'd done by putting ink onto paper and using a straw, I presume, to blow the ink around. And she'd mentioned the story that a tutor, I think, had seen it and said there was a rabbit in trousers, and I could see that, but then I could see some other things as well, like turtles and bears, and so we kind of had a little bit of a friendly competition to see things, and then just showed it on stream, and we're drawing around all the things that I could see anyway. Chosen, I wouldn't be too worried about it. Well, for a start, you could do what I did, which at the start, which was not have a face cam, which isn't, it's different. You might get baby tears complaining at you or for that, and hence the hands joke at the start. But it's not as bad as it sounds, really, because whilst you know people are watching you, you're looking at a camera. You're not looking at people. So to put it bluntly, I'm an introvert. I don't like being in crowds of people. But there again, I used to be a salesman as well, so I kind of got used to it. But you doesn't quite feel the same when you're talking to a camera as it would be in a room full of people, or at the front of a big room like a lecture or something like that. It's a completely different feeling. So it might not be quite as bad as you think. With the upgrades, well, I upgraded the microphone, didn't I? I don't think I've upgraded anything else. I mean, I was really wanting to get rid of the headphones. That's about the only thing I've upgraded. Yes, I've borrowed the camera. This one's the original camera I started with, but I've got a decent desk mic as opposed to, well, in theory the headset mic was great, but I don't like wearing headsets. I'd certainly tune in if I could, Fluffy, if it's a time when I'm able to watch paper. Exilian, aloha. Aloha. Welcome. Oh yes, now I remember. That's right. You had me. Well, to be fair, you didn't. You mentioned it, and yes, and I spent ages looking for where the buzz was coming from on my microphone. I remember that. Because I could quite, the way my desk was laid out and the way the audio leads were, it wasn't surprising. Eventually solved that problem though. And of course now I have a decent desk mic. Which I've just about finished saving up to repay. But it means I don't have to have the headset on, which is absolutely fantastic. I was being nice, baby tears. I wasn't mentioning that. Fear Reaper 7, good evening. Welcome to the stream this evening. I was in Eddie Fall Guy's stream earlier this afternoon, in fact yesterday as well, and there was somebody there trying to call him the ring lord, and I said, you can't call Lady that. Lady, you might be the ringmaster, but you can't be the ring lord, because I've got a picture that proves it's me. Not at the moment. It did have some, shall we say, yeah. Well, there were some people he was close to that unfortunately died. So he gave up for a while. He came back for a little bit, but he hasn't been around for a bit again. Well, I hope that's good, Tyler, the farmer. But sorry to hear about that. I don't get drunk. I get migraines, so I get the after effects for free. So I don't particularly want to get drunk. Don't mind drinking. I just don't want to get drunk. No, even if somebody else is buying, I don't want to get drunk. If you've never had migraines, then let me see if I can imagine the worst imagine the worst hangover headache you've ever had. Multiply it by 10, and then double it whenever you see any light. Sorry about that, Tyler the Farmer. It's never a good way to go. So, baby tears, now that you're back, have you started streaming anything yet? Mine? It's a Greek key design. It's sort of my wedding ring. This is my actual wedding ring, but unfortunately it doesn't fit me any longer. So what we've done is both my wife and I we bought a matching Greek key designs. My wife loves Greek key as a wedding ring. So it's, sometimes wear that on that finger, but I don't like rings on my little finger. It makes them go numb. But I still have it here next to me. Actually, what I ought to do is put it on a chainmail ring around my neck, shouldn't I? Oh, well, yeah, it's a laces. A lace would be good. There you go. You could say great minds think alike. And I'm sure there's a half joke in there somewhere. But I think I shall leave it whilst I'm ahead. Ah. Now, Fear Reaper, you've caught me because I'm not quite sure what you're referring to. Fluffy Twiglet's now managed to get a webcam or a camera link to do the same thing. So, when's the stream then, Fluffy Twiglet? I am not going to deign that with an answer, baby tears. Mainly because I don't believe it. Or I could say I'm just jealous that you can get away with that as an excuse. What I'm doing here is just something like a little bit of fluff or something. It looks a little blue, and it sort of stuck to the wood and wouldn't go away. So I'm just using this rubber. Isn't actually erasing anything at all, but it is just gradually wearing away at the little blue whatever it was, to the point where I can't see it anymore. Yeah. Unfortunately I can't, not without a lot of peroxide. Mind you, potentially it won't be that long before it won't be peroxide I'll need, it'll be dye. I want a bit more colour on that. What's an Elfell tower, Tyler the Farmer? Sounds romantic. Have I missed something around here? It sounds baby tear. Sounds like I've missed a comment somewhere. Oh, so Eiffel Tower. Okay. On my screen, I can't. The capital I can't tell, but it's EIFEL. Is Eiffel. Yeah, but fair enough. My spelling's terrible, so I'm not going to say anything. Well, if you come across a picture, tell the farmer that. Oh well, okay. Told you my spelling was terrible. I almost got it right. I missed one of the F's in the middle. Or did you cheat, Fear Reaper, and look it up on the internet? That's kind of what I'd do. Either I'd throw it into a spell check, mind you. No, I wouldn't. Because the only spell checker I've got around here has a tendency to like American words over English ones, despite the fact it's been told I'm English. Yeah, well, I'm an old man. I'm an old man. I must be old. It's the day after yesterday, and I was old yesterday, and that was the day before, and so on. It is. It would be interesting to see if you do come across a picture, Tyler the Farmer. The only model I've seen of the Eiffel Tower has been made using one of these 3D pens, of which I am hoping I will get one soon. I backed one a little while ago on Kickstarter, and they're late, but they might eventually deliver. But it's I thought it might be fun to try some hand-operated 3D printing and just see what we can do with it in terms of well, I got it to play with, but we could play with it on stream. Take my wife to Paris. She doesn't like Paris. Never been, but she doesn't like Paris. She'd rather go to Greece. Over zoo. She loves animals. Yeah, been to Athens. I think, and around the Parthenon, of course. She actually prefers one of the Greek islands, so which is where we tend to go quite a lot. Crete, to be precise. Yeah. There is a heck of a lot of mythology out there. Of course, on Crete you've got the what is supposed to be the Palace of Knossos, which is where the Minotaur is supposed to have lived. And you can wander around that place, and there's a heck of a lot of mythology out on Crete. There's supposed to be there's a lake which is supposed to. I was trying to think who it's supposed to be the birthplace of. Yeah, you can easily spend a whole holiday going to all the places, as we have done many times. Cornos. Okay, yeah, been there. Cornos Lake, that's supposed to be bottomless in theory, isn't it? If I remember correctly. I've been on the lake. It's certainly a dark looking lake. And when you get, it's very blue, but when you get out into the middle of it, it does not feel dark. Deep dark. In the middle of a volcano, if I remember rightly. Oh, that's okay, Fluffy Twiggler. I'm not going to disturb you if you're getting ready to do a stream at some point. And when we went to Lake Cornus, it's got a lot more. In fact, a lot of the sites in Crete just recently, in the last few years, have got very much more commercialised. There was a heck of a back when we first went out there. You could hire a boat to go out onto Lake Cornus, and there was just a small cafe there. Now it's somewhat of a larger establishment, and you can't even get down to. I think you just about get down to the lake now. At one time you could wander almost all the way around it. Hiya Creams, welcome to the studio again this evening. Okay, let's do this top bit a bit lighter, a bit darker. Can't lighten this stuff off very easily. And the ideal colour for this is going to be about a shade different to that. Indeed, adds Art, Baby Tears, and I think I'm going to say I think you already do. Yeah, it's Art. Why are you feeling anxious, Creams? Relax, chill out. If you like, I will make my voice a little bit more less sing-song and stretch it out a little bit so it's somewhat more relaxing, and then perhaps at the end of it we might all end up falling asleep. It's alright, Baby Tears. I don't tweet a great deal, so about the only tweets that go out are when the stream goes live, or if for some reason I can't stream, which isn't very often. Might be a few more coming up soon, but they'll be related to art or the stream anyway, so I'm not the sort of person that tweets my breakfast and lunch and cup of coffee and things like that. Now there's a compliment, isn't it? Best voice on Twitch. I suppose I nearly spoiled it. The interesting thing is, baby tears, is there's hands there and there's a face here, but they're on different cameras. Now the interesting fact is you don't know whether it's the same person. Oh, thank you, Creams. Okay, I'm not going to say anything. What do they say? Artists very rarely like their own work, so I suppose just to dispel any doubt, what I ought to do is do that. If I can find the right thing on both cameras. There you go. And you can even see the ring, same ring, on the same hand. He says, wondering whether he's actually flipped the camera. Which would confuse things altogether. Okay, well, if I'm up early enough, Fluffy Twiglet, and do I follow you? I suppose if I don't, I should now, if you're going to go live. Yeah, I do. Oh, that's right, yes, in case you ever did another one of the fish. Okay, well, if I am around, then I will no doubt get the notification and I will see if I can watch. I do have a house to clear tomorrow, or some work to clear a house tomorrow, so I may or may not be around, but I will try. Good night, Tyler the Farmer. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow then. Thank you very much for joining the stream this evening. We'll be finishing in about a quarter of an hour anyway. I'm seriously trying to get finished both a website and a shop, and it's taking an inordinate amount of time, partly because you suddenly start discovering all sorts of rules and regulations about things that you never knew were involved. And I am hoping maybe this weekend I will get some of the final things loaded and be able to open. Don't know about the website, maybe the shop, but not the, maybe one of the shops I'll be able to get open this weekend, but not I don't think the website will go live just yet. Okay, Creams. Well, hopefully a nice relaxed stream like this will assist you in overcoming the difficulty. No idea what you're going to be doing though, Fluffy Twiglet. Well, you've got paper. Hopefully your pens may arrive tomorrow. You've got waste paper. Not next week, baby tears. After this comes carving, and I am not carving a statue of you. I am not that good, at least not yet. Then will be scraper board, and then another punchcraft, then some jewellery, and then we're back to the pyrography. It's about 2 weeks on each of those, and then I'll think about it, definitely. Of course, this is pyrography, so if I did one, it wouldn't be blonde, it would be dirty blonde. Don't know if that makes a difference, you know. It's a dirty colour, I'm afraid. You see, if you hadn't abandoned me when I went on holiday, then when I come back, we'd have done it already. No, that wasn't a capital D. That was a lowercase d. Your private life is no concern of mine. Okay. Yeah. Well, it's an interesting. I'll show you. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but this is the reference picture I was using for this. This is the thing that I airbrushed that many years ago. No, it must be about 5 years ago. So it's based on this, and then somewhat loosely based on this. Just basically the shape. We drew it from scratch and went on. Starkark, good evening. Thank you very much. Although it's probably about 20 feet higher than that. It being a monorail rather than a boat, but thank you. iBox 7, good evening. Indeed, monorail, Disney World, circa 15 years ago, something like that, or possibly even longer. I can't actually remember. I do know that the picture I just showed you was done about four or so years ago. Maybe. You see, the trick is though, to treat it as though it wasn't. That makes it fall flat on its face. Yeah, the Simpsons monorail. I can only vaguely remember that episode. Valika, good evening. I have lots of them. This is just one. Well, I suppose two because I'm talking as well. But anyway. Yeah. Well, almost. You'll notice I have a tendency to stop while I talk. But I can read and talk at the same time, so multitasking just about. And now you see, when I was pyrographing, I'd stopped talking. I guess what I've got to do now is do them both at the same time, just to prove that I was actually just fooling a little bit there. Because even though you can't potentially tell, I'm actually applying pyrography to this. You might just think I am sort of just wafting it around. I am still wafting it around and talking at the same time, so technically that's two. Right. Those two are better colours. I need to do something around just on that edge there. It's a little bit it's too close a colour to the beam. I think I'm going to have to cheat a little bit because I don't actually want to darken it. It could do with being a little bit darker, but what I'm going to do is just cheat a little bit, and that is adjust the shadow that's underneath. At that point there wouldn't actually be much of a shadow because of all the light angles and things, but if I just cheat a little bit and just do that, just sort of edge it a little bit, I've now lifted that wing, bottom end of the wing, off the beam, and the fact that it's not, in fact it's the same colour because I've separated it, it doesn't make any difference anymore. Sorry, Starcat, using words I don't understand. I'm just going to do the same trick, just that. Well, I've just done the same trick there. I'm going to do the same trick just a little bit up here as well, just to separate. And it doesn't look out of place because you kind of do expect a little bit of a shadow to be there. So it sort of looks right. Bunnymox Rose, good evening, welcome. Nice to see you again. Unfortunately, you're just catching the end of the stream, and agreed, Fluffy Twiglet. I'm actually thinking whether I need to. Don't really want to do that same trick up there. This is supposed to be white, and it's in shadow, therefore it's grey. I don't want to use that same trick up there. I think I'll just leave that because your eye will tend to lead up that way anyway. So I think I've probably done enough just catching the two edges there. Okay, in that case, with a bit of luck, I should be around. It's about usually when I have tea, about 6 o'clock, 5-6 o'clock. So I'll be able to watch while I feed my face. Oh, another streamer, another creative streamer. Welcome to the another creative. Welcome to creative Fluffy Twiglet. I hope you enjoy the streaming, and we see you again more often. I was just thinking, if I typed that, I'd probably type it wrong, and instead of spelling horse, I'd have spelled House, and then probably fallen back laughing. Yeah. I need a little bit more colour in here. Doesn't quite match with the window. The brightness has come a bit too far down. I need it to be about the same place so that we get a consistent. Why did my PC suddenly complain about not being able to encode? To get a consistent curve. My PC is doing next to nothing. Why did OBS? Sorry, I paused a bit, and I'm a bit sort of puzzled at the moment because I just got a. You might have seen the stutter when I started to move my hand over there, and OBS was complaining about not having enough time to do the encoding, and I'm kind of thinking, why? Because it's not like my PC's playing a game or anything, and it's doing nothing else apart from reading my own stream back. And on the other hand, let's change the subject. We can talk about special purple rings. And perhaps we better change the subject again. I don't know, we're talking about pyrography. And oh dear. When it gets like that, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to say I've done enough pyrography for tonight. At this point. Before I tie myself in knots. That's too easy. Too easy, but I'll tie myself in knots. And I'm trying to be polite. And nice. And friendly. And yeah, having a good time. But it's getting up to 10 o'clock now at night. Indeed, I've stopped digging. I've stopped digging because I'm going to go for the usual advert now, because I have finished for this evening. I think it's 10 o'clock. I do have other things to get on with, much as I kind of like to carry on streaming, because when you guys are around, it's real fun, and this is being real fun. And you know, when everybody's chatting, and even when it chat slides sideways a little bit, but as I say, unfortunately I do need to get on with some other things, and I could do with having a drink. My voice is getting a bit dry at the moment, so we've actually, despite what it might look like, we've done a heck of a lot on this. Most of the train stuff here at the moment is the relatively subtle changes which make a big difference overall to the look of the image. So it's more subtle shading that's going in, slight tweaking of colours or shades, which change the overall composition and the look of the piece to be more natural, more sort of what you might expect to see for things like where shadows are and things like that. There's two big areas left to do on this, and so I may leave the train. There's a bit more tweaking to do on it, but may leave the train tomorrow and move down to the bottom here. There's a tray which is underneath the beam, presumably to catch oil or anything dropping off the trains as they go overhead, because they tend to run over the top of your head in Disney World. You kind of don't really want lubricating oil dropping on your head. And I want to put maybe something that represents trees or foliage beneath it, just to ground this thing a little bit, so you've got some indication of it being connected to ground. So I probably will do those two bits maybe, or start those two bits tomorrow, and I may even just block that bit in there, because the more I look at it, the more this does look like the underneath of the beam, and so I'm quite happy to finish that off. So we'll do that. We'll do that tomorrow. So as I say, I'm going to say thank you all again. It has been great fun. Not quite sure. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. So anybody who's watching that isn't following, that would care to, I would highly encourage you, of course, to follow me. The button is below the stream window. That way Twitch, of course, will notify you when I go live. But if you would prefer not to follow, that's okay. You can follow me on Twitter if you want the notification, because a tweet does go out when I go live. It's at @ZeragonArt. The details also are below the stream window, and they will be on the end plate in a moment. Other than that, I do stream 7 nights a week from 8 PM UK time, 1900 hours GMT, or about 2 hours ago. Thank you all, and baby tears, creams, everybody else, Fluffy Twiggler, anybody else that's around, thank you very much. Hope to see you again. Bye bye.